Hey everybody, it is BB Licious again, and this is a tutorial on how to make a events calendar graphic. So a lot of people have been telling me that they've seen my video on how to make a Wix bulletin, and it's been very helpful, and I'm so happy to hear that. It really makes me feel good to hear people come back and say it really helped me a lot. That is so fucking awesome. So I'm really glad that's helping. Alright, so I've been asked about how to make a events calendar graphic, and I'm going to show you. Now, I need to tell you that it is a two-part thing, and I use Wix and I use GIMP, and this is GIMP. I have a bunch of crap up here already I've been working on. If you don't have GIMP, or if you don't have Photoshop or something of that nature to work with, and you do follow the steps that I follow, then you need something to work with. So if you want to use GIMP, you can find it at gimp.org. Download right there. It is free and open source image editor, so it does not cost anything. Just download it. Now, I'll tell you right now, my GIMP is going to look different from yours because I choose to use the older version. Let me see if I can see which one it is. I use GIMP 2.80. I prefer it. I had the new GIMP, and I actually rolled it back and got the 2.8 because I just like it better. So you can download that, because I'm going to show you how I do the events calendar graphic. So if you use something besides GIMP, you can figure that out on your own. I don't use Photoshop. I have it, but I don't use it. I don't use paint.net. I don't know how to use anything other than GIMP. So if you use something other than GIMP, or you take different steps, I can't help you with that. Just letting you know ahead of time. Okay, so I'm going to use a bulletin I've already made for somebody, and I've already made their events calendar graphic, but I'm going to walk you through the steps that I use to make it. Okay, so let's just say you made a bulletin, and now you need to make the events calendar graphic. I'm going to use this one. Alright, so this is for GRMC. I'll show you what the bulletin looks like. This is the bulletin. Okay, so my events calendar graphic, first of all, RLC wants your events calendar graphic to be 512 by 512. If it's any bigger, they won't accept it. It's got to be 512 by 512. Something else that you need to consider, if you are having VWW of the day, then you're going to have to leave some room around the edges so that it fits inside of the portal, the VWW portal that they put in transport. It's kind of a weird shape. If you want a template for that, you can email, hold on, I'll tell you who you can email. If you're doing VWW of the day, here you go. Make sure your portal image is 512 by 512 pixels. It can be JPEG, GIF, or PNG format. The top corners will be cut off to fit the portal, so please position the text and the pictures accordingly. You may request a template by emailing events@redlightcenter.com. Okay, so if you need to do that, then please do. Okay, so basically an events calendar graphic is you're taking the information on the bulletin and you're condensing it so you can stick it in the events calendar. So here's how I do mine. I'm not saying it's the right way, also not saying it's the wrong way. It's a lot of steps, but I hope it makes sense to you guys. This is just how I do it. Okay, here's the bulletin. The bulletin is made. So once I get done with the bulletin, I go back to where it is on Wix. Go to Site Actions. I'm going to duplicate the site. And now I'm going to name it. GRMC Events Calendar. Make it as short as possible. I abbreviate a bunch of stuff. So I name it, but, well, crap, it closed on me. So let me duplicate it again. Okay. For this purpose, I'm going to name it Events Calendar, Events Cal Demo. And I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to click on Duplicate. And then we wait. Up here, it's going to say your site was duplicated, manage new site. Now you have to click on that pretty quickly because it's only up there for a few seconds, so watch for it. Click on it. It opens up. Here's the name of it, Events Cal Demo. Before we go to edit it, Site Actions, rename it Events Cal Demo. Whatever is right here needs to be here as well. So just paste it. Because remember, before we got here, I copied that, so I pasted it here. Click on Save, and now that's done. Now we can edit the site. Click on Edit Site. It's going to open it up. Okay, so to make the events calendar graphic, I duplicate the bulletin that I made, and I'm going to chop it up. It's basically what I'm doing. Just make sure when you open the bulletin, the one you've opened is the duplicate, not the original. Because if you open the original and chop it up to make the events calendar, then your bulletin is going to look like the events calendar. And you don't want that. Like, you don't want to chop up your original. So make sure the one you're chopping up is the duplicate. Okay, so here's the duplicate. It looks just like the original bulletin. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the stuff I don't need. Don't need that. Don't need the repost code. I'm not going to need both of those URLs. Okay. I think I'm going to need all the rest of that. Okay, so the first thing about making the events calendar graphic is we need to pull, when we're making the bulletin, I recommend that you push your textures all the way up to the top. Well, we're going to be screenshotting the final version, so we need to pull this down. We need to pull the graphic down. Well, not that. I meant this. Let me put that back. Okay. I'm going to right click. Come on. Show me, or I could go up here and do the layers. Toolbar 2 while I'm at it. Alright, so here's the layers box. I don't want the container box. I want the wallpaper, which is this. And I'm using the arrow on my keyboard to move it, and you can't really see it that well, but it's moving very slowly. I'm just hitting the down arrow on my keyboard. Okay, so now I want to pull this up. The thing about making events calendar graphic, okay, so they want it to be 512 by 512, which means you pretty much have to get all your information into a square. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. I'm just going to move it over to the side. thought I had deleted that other URL. Okay. So what I'm in the process of doing is I'm taking this wallpaper with the wood and the leather, and I'm kind of squaring it up, making it square. Okay, so here's the DJ banner, so I want to make that smaller. These leather things on the side here, I have those stacked, so I'm going to move one of those out of the way. So I'm basically just, alright, so that's a little longer than this, so I'm just going to pull this down so that that comes kind of to the edge. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that one and pull it down. And you can see the lines will help you line it up so it's even. Okay. So now I'm going to put the info on here. You're going to have to resize a lot of stuff. Okay, so Ghostwriters MC, GRMC meet and greet. Gonna have to change sizes and all that stuff. Now, what I really love about doing events calendar graphic, I'm a creative person, so I like going onto Wix and making the bulletins and everything, and I love it when people give me free reign, because I'm like, I kind of get like my thought process, I kind of like go deep into the project, and I don't know how to explain this, but I feel everything. Like everything has a feeling to it. Even in RLC, in a pixel world, I can walk into a Zappy or VWW or any place, and I can get a feel for the place. It feels warm, it feels cold, it feels, you know, just feelings. And I know it's weird, sorry. But working with Wix allows me to, you know, people say, okay, I want to do cowgirl, I want, you know, it's a biker thing, cowgirl image. I'm thinking wood, leather, it gives me a warm feeling, so I know I'm on the right track. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to quit talking and start working more. I get kind of chatty, sorry. Okay, already I have a problem. Alright, you see this GRMC meet and greet? It is overlapping this URL right here. The URL is actually under the GRMC meet and greet layer, which is not good because, okay, let me back up. If this was the bulletin, it would not be good, because on the bulletin, people need to be able to copy and paste the URL right off the bulletin, but I forgot this is going to the events calendar, so it don't matter. They're not going to be copying and pasting. Okay. So I'm just making some adjustments here. I can delete this. Delete this. Making sure everything looks like it's pretty much lined up. Oh, I'm forgetting some stuff. Okay, so now I gotta make room for this stuff right here. Alright, let's move this up a little bit. GRMC meet and greet. This is the time. Okay, now when you got a lot of text, sometimes what you can do is just make it smaller and then just add on. Okay, so the Ghost Riders is on the wood, and there's nothing hardly on the wood, so down here, so I just want to bring it down a little bit because I want to even it up. I want it to look even. Actually, this can go a little bigger. They were not going to be VWW of the day, so I don't have to worry about the corners being cut off because it's kind of like in an arch shape. So these corners, if you're doing VWW of the day, keep this in mind when you're building your events calendar graphic, because these corners right here are going to be cut off. So if this was going to be VWW of the day, I would make everything smaller and just kind of bring it in on itself. But it's not, and so this is just a regular event. Come on, cooperate. Oh, crap. Where's the URL? Here. I'm using the arrow on my keyboard to bring it down. I just clicked on it right here in the layers, which you can find up here in the tools. Gonna bring this down a little bit, and then bring this down. Okay. Alright, so again, you don't need every single thing that's on your bulletin. You don't need every single thing to be on the events calendar graphic. You basically want to tell people what it is, where it is, and when it is. Okay? And also keep in mind, if it's VWW, that these top corners are going to be cut right off. Okay, so I'm done making my events calendar graphic, so I'm going to save it. I've already named it. If you have not named it, you can click on edit and you can name it right here. Then click the plus. And now I'm going to publish it. View site. So here's the final product. Okay, now here is where GIMP comes in. Now I think it's Light Shot, but you can just, if you have Light Shot or Giazzo, or if you do something else, whatever you use to take screenshots of web pages, you can use, but I use this, and I just I make sure I get a good border around there, so I have room to trim it up, make it the size I want. So now I'm going to get the URL to save the screenshot. Okay, now I'm going to save it. If you're making bulletins, you should have, and I covered this in my bulletin making video, you should have a folder just for bulletin stuff, for bulletin textures, and keep it organized. I still have not cleaned up my mess down here. I'm going to mark this demo. Demo GRMC events calendar. You can name it whatever you want to. And then save it. Okay. Here's where GIMP comes in. Now, if you're using GIMP, this is how I do it. If you're not using GIMP, you'll have to figure that out or get somebody else to help you, because I don't know nothing. Alright, so you're going to go to File. And if you've never used GIMP before, this is fairly easy to do this part. File, Open, and you're going to go to the bulletin textures. You're going to pick up the screenshot you just saved, demo GRMC events calendar. Double click that. It's going to import it. Okay, so I got plenty of room over here, so I can trim it up however I want. Now I'm going to my toolbox. Now when you first open GIMP, your toolbox might be in two separate windows. I have mine docked. It just means that I have mine sitting inside the whole thing where it's all one piece. And I have mine on the right side. Yours might be on the left side. But the tools are still there, so you can use the tools. And also remember, it might look different because you're probably going to have the new GIMP. I've got an old one because I just prefer it. So I'm clicking on this little X-Acto knife looking thing. It's the crop tool. And you can just hover your cursor over these tools and it'll tell you what they are and what they're for. So click on the crop tool and then you just put it on the screen, drop and drag. Make sure you hold the mouse down while you're moving it, and then you can click in the middle and you can kind of move it around as long as you're holding the mouse button down. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a black border, so I'm just going to use these to see. If you hover your cursor over the edges of this box, these little other boxes will show up. They're like little guides, like you can pull these out, pull them in. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it makes things so much easier. Okay, so it looks about how I want it. So now I'm going to go in the middle and click one time and it crops it. Okay. Alright, so now I got it the way I want it, but now I have to make sure it meets RLC standards. It's got to be 512 by 512. So I'm going to go up here to where it says image, go to scale image, and a box is going to pop up. Width, height. So the first thing I need to do, see this little chain that's connected right here? I'm going to break that chain. The reason why I'm breaking it, because if I left it unbroken, whatever number I put here, it's going to automatically resize the height so that's in, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm getting old, so I forget words. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. See, it changed the number. So I don't want the bottom number to be this. I want it to be 512. So I'm going to break that chain, and that way I can put the number I want in the bottom. These need to be 72. And once your numbers are 512 and 512, make sure to break this chain. All you got to do is click on it, then click on scale. And it resizes it to 512 by 512. Now, we need to save it to the computer. So you're going to click on File. Now, if you were saving an image that has layers, like if you're saving an outfit you're making, or if you're saving a logo or something that you're making, something that has different layers, and you want to go back and adjust a layer, then you need to save as, and you're going to name it and save. Then you're going to go to File, Export, and you're going to export it to the same place under the same name. Now that's if you want to save all the layers so that you can go back later and adjust something on one of those layers. Now for this particular thing, we don't have any layers because I took a screenshot of the final product, so there's only one layer, the whole screenshot. I can't go, because your layers are going to be right here under this layers tab. So I can't go back and change anything in GIMP that's on this events calendar graphic because I have no layers. So I can skip the first step in saving. So I just go to File, Export. I'm back in my bulletin textures. It's named, and I add this onto the end of the name, capital CR. What that means, cropped and resized. Now you can do what you want to. It's just the way that I organize my stuff. When I see CR on something, I know it's been cropped and it's been sized properly, so I don't have to do anything to it. So I'm going to export that. A box is going to pop up, and I'm just going to click on export, and you're done. So we have the graphic, it's done, it's resized, all that good stuff. So now we need to upload it to the events calendar. Now you can do this in World, or you can go to the events page, which is otherverse.net/events team/index.html. Okay, so it's also where you find all the wedding stuff and everything. So you're going to scroll down here to events and click on events calendar. Create what type of event. Choose your event. I'm going to say a personal event because it's only going to be one event. If it's going to be a regular event like every week, just click on that. Of course, if it's a wedding, you know what to do. VWW of the day. Just remember, if you do VWW, make sure you leave plenty of room around the edges so the top won't be cut off. The top corners won't be cut off. Read all this stuff right here. And then come down here, check this so that you say you read and agreed to the terms and regulations, and then click on next. Now we're going to name it GRMC Meet and Greet. Click on this to set the date. Let's just say October. I don't know when. What date was it? Mondays. Okay, so let's click on Monday. Let's say the 25th, which happens to be today. The time, I don't remember what the time was. 6 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to click on this. We're going to go down to 6 p.m. Okay, make sure you click it on p.m. and not a.m. 6 p.m. Eastern. Where I'm going to go back to Wix so I can copy the URL right off the bulletin. Looky there, it automatically comes up, Ghostwriter Overdrive Club. Now, choose file. We're going to click on that, and we're going to go to our bulletin textures, GRMC. Oh Lord. Here it is. Demo GRMC Events Calendar CR, the cropped and resized version. And I'm hovering my cursor over that image, and I can see that it is a PNG file, and also it is sized 512 by 512. So I click on that to select it, and it uploads it. We click on next. Yes, I know I don't own the venue. Anyway, I wasn't going to go all the way through with it, but I did want to take you guys through most of it. So you click on next, and I think the next page that comes up, trying to think. I've done this 100 times, so I can't remember what's on the next page. But anyway, you just follow the steps, and then when you get to the end, it's going to show the fees. It's either going to be 1 ray or 2 rays. If it's VWW of the day, it's going to be 10 rays. So make sure you have that money in your account. It's going to automatically deduct it. Okay. Oh, whenever you're doing, okay, you're going to have to choose. I don't know why it's not showing it on this. So you're going to have to choose, once you get past the file and everything, you're going to have to choose a time zone. Now, this event is at 6 p.m. Eastern, so when you get down to the time zone, you're going to click on it. It's going to be like a drop-down arrow, and you click on it, and it's got all these time zones. And make sure you choose New York Eastern Standard Time, because this event is at 6 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you also set the time. There's also a place underneath that where you can choose if this is a periodic event, like if you're having it every week. If you don't want to upload the events calendar every single week, if it's just a one-time thing, you can just do it as a single event. But if it's going to be every week and you don't want to have to go through the trouble of uploading the events calendar graphic every single week and going through this every week, you can choose periodic, and then you can choose up until what date you want it to post. Like if you want it to post for the next 3 months, you can choose the ending date, and it'll continue to post it. You don't have to do it every week. Okay, so I'm going to X out of this. I'm going to cancel it. But that's just, I I mean, most of you already know how to do events calendar, I think, but I know there are some who don't. So, all right, so that's pretty much it. That is how I do an events calendar. Now, when I make bulletins for people, I tell them I give free updates for small stuff, and I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, like if this person comes to me and says, okay, we got a different DJ, so I need you to replace the DJ logo. Fine, no problem. So I click on this, click on change image, go to their file, go to logos. I have a logos folder where I have like 1,000,000 logos. I'll just use mine as an example. Alright, so I select the new DJ logo. It's replaced. Bam. Now that's for if I'm replacing it on the bulletin. The bulletin itself, these updates, the updates are free. Like if the date changes, say to Tuesdays from 9 to 11, changing the date, changing the time, changing a logo, those are simple updates and those are free. But here's the thing. If they want a new events calendar after those changes are made, there's a 25 ray fee. And the reason why is because I have to go onto the events calendar graphic. I have to change the information, and then I have to take a new screenshot, then I have to put it in GIMP. You know, these processes take more time. I'm a very busy person, so I'm going to charge you 25 rays if I have to redo the events calendar graphic. Now, when I make a bulletin for someone, I include an events calendar graphic for free. For free. But if they come back and I have to, if I make changes on the bulletin and they want a new events calendar graphic, they're going to have to pay for it. Okay. So I hope this helps as well on how to make events calendar graphics. Let me just finish this out. Okay, say I replaced the logo. So I'm going to publish it. I'm just doing the same step. So now I'm going to take a screenshot, and it's just willy-nilly. Like, I'm not too careful about how big of a screenshot I'm taking here. And then I'm saving it again. Okay, events calendar graphic. So I've already got one, so this is my second one. I'm just going to put a 1 at the end so I know it's the next version. And then I'm going into GIMP. I'm going to open it up. Here's the new one. It's got a 1 on the end. So I'm going to double click. Get my crop tool. I'm going to create a square. It's got a little bit of a black border. I'm going to crop it. I'm going to resize it. I'm going to break this link right here. Make this 512. Make this 512. Scale. Export as events calendar 1 to the same folder. Export. No. Whoops, I forgot the CR. That's what I forgot. So I'm adding CR onto the end of that. Now I'm exporting. And then you can, I'll show you. Here we go. It is right there. So this is what will go into the events calendar. Once again, let me stress that if your event is going to be VWW of the day, you're going to have to bring your stuff in. You're going to make it smaller like this. Okay, let's say this is going to be VWW of the day. So these top corners right here are going to be cut off. So you're going to have to bring this stuff in. Make this smaller. Make this smaller. You just want to bring things in closer. Actually, this amount of wood here is not equal to the amount of wood here, so... Oh, you know what? There's more wood on the bottom than there is the top. I didn't even notice that till now. Come on. There we go. That. Pull that down. Pull that down. I did a lot of talking in this video. I try not to ramble too much, but I surely did this time, didn't I? Alright, so this sort of be safe. It kind of goes like this. Like a arch. I think this might be okay. You just gotta bring things in if it's VWW of the day. Once again, you can get a template. So you can email, I think it's events@redlightcenter.com. You'll have to go back and check the video for that. But anyway. Alright, so there you go. I hope it helps you guys. And if there's something else that you want to see, something else you want a video of, let me know and I'll see what I can do for you. Take care, everybody.